On the morning of February 2nd, 2012, a young barista pulled off a 4-lane highway in Anchorage, Alaska, and parked in a snow-covered lot. He passed rows of cars until he stopped in front of a small teal-colored coffee kiosk called Common Grounds, the place where he worked. As he approached the employee entrance, something felt off. When he put his key into the lock, the door opened easily. It was already unlocked. The barista immediately thought of the girl who had worked the closing shift the night before, 18-year-old Samantha Koenig. She was new, but responsible, careful, the kind of person who never forgot to lock up. Still, he brushed it off and stepped inside. That's when the unease grew. Napkins were scattered on the floor, towels lay abandoned. Cups were still out, as if the shift had ended suddenly, mid-motion. As he walked to the register trying to rationalize the mess, he unlocked it, or at least, he tried to. The register was already open, the cash tray was empty. That's when he knew something was very wrong. The night before, Samantha had asked her boyfriend Dwayne to pick her up after her shift. He arrived around 8:30 p.m., 30 minutes late. Work had held him up. But when he pulled into the lot, Samantha was nowhere to be seen. The kiosk was dark, closed. Dwayne stepped out into the freezing Alaskan night and pressed his face against the glass, peering inside. Empty. As he walked back to his truck, his mind drifted to the argument they'd had earlier that night. Samantha had accused him of cheating. The fight was ugly, emotional. Maybe she didn't want to see him. Maybe she caught a ride home. Still, something didn't sit right. He texted her. No response. So despite the fight, despite everything, Dwayne drove straight to Samantha's house. Her father, James, answered the door. Samantha wasn't there. The two men sat in James's kitchen, calling and texting Samantha over and over. Then, finally, Dwayne's phone buzzed. A text from Samantha. She said she was upset. She needed time. She said she'd be staying with friends for a few days and asked Dwayne to let her father know. James read the message and immediately felt it in his gut. This wasn't Samantha. She told him everything, always, and now she hadn't contacted him at all. By morning, James went to the police and filed a missing person report. Police initially believed Samantha may have robbed the kiosk and left on her own. There was no sign of a struggle, no panic button pressed. But there was one problem. Samantha didn't have a car that night. The truth came later that day when the security footage arrived. The video showed Samantha working alone around 8 p.m. Someone off camera ordered a drink. As Samantha turned back to hand it over, she froze. She stepped backward. Her hands went up. Seconds later, she shut off the lights and dropped to her knees. She emptied the register and handed the money to a shadowed figure. Then, 2 minutes later, the man leaned fully inside the kiosk. He tied her hands, jumped through the window, pressed a gun into her back, and marched her out to a white pickup truck. Days passed. Leads went nowhere. Anchorage rallied behind James, desperate for answers. Then, 3 weeks later, Dwayne received a text from Samantha's phone. It led him to a public park. Inside a plastic bag was a ransom note and a photo. Samantha looked dazed. Beside her, a man held up a newspaper dated weeks after her disappearance. A chilling proof of life. The note demanded $30,000. The FBI monitored the account. Withdrawals began, first in Alaska, then across multiple states. In Texas, an ATM camera finally caught the suspect's car, a white Ford Focus. On March 13th, a patrol officer spotted it in a hotel parking lot and pulled it over for barely speeding. The driver was Israel Keys, 34, from Anchorage. In his trunk, a gun, a ski mask, Samantha's phone, and her debit card. Confronted with the evidence, Keys confessed, but only after asking for coffee. candy, and a cigar. What he revealed was so disturbing that much of it remains unreleased. He went to rob the kiosk, but when Samantha turned her back, he changed his mind. He decided to take her. He silenced her, drove her around for hours, then brought her to his home, where his girlfriend and young daughter slept. He locked Samantha in a shed, tied her to the wall, turned up the radio, and told her that if she stayed quiet, she'd be fine. He lied. In the early hours of the morning, Samantha asked him a simple question. "Are you going to kill me?" His answer was calm. Yes. Shortly before 4 a.m., he did. Keyes later returned from a luxury cruise, staged Samantha's body for the ransom photo, then dismembered her and disposed of her in a frozen lake. Samantha was not his first victim. Israel Keyes was a serial killer who hid murder kits across the United States. He took his own life in prison in December 2012, but the horror he left behind never disappeared.